Hi, I'm Mark Johnston. I started the confidential inquiry into perioperative equine fatalities a number of years ago now, probably 20 years ago, when I was in practice in Newmarket at Rossdale & Partners and anaesthetising a lot of the surgical caseload, and was puzzled as to why so many horses, in my experience, a disproportionately high number of horses were dying unexpectedly during surgery and after surgery. And so I set up a research project which has now become known as CEPEF, the Confidential Inquiry into Perioperative Equine Fatalities, and carried out 3 phases of the research. The first 2 were observational studies and basically observed the incidence of complications arising from general anaesthesia and tried to identify some of the risk factors, and those have been published in Equine Veterinary Journal and are available for everyone to read and benefit from. The third phase was a randomized control trial comparing isoflurane and halothane as maintenance agents in horses, and again that was been published and the results are reasonably well known. And then since then very little has happened, and we were wanting to carry out a further phase of this research, and my good friend Dr. Regular Betschart tried to put something together a number of years ago, and it just couldn't find its legs. And now I'm pleased to be able to say that a new group has formed with many of the old participants like myself and Dr. Polly Taylor, who was my PhD supervisor at the time and co-author, and Dr. Regular Betschart, and 2 new and very well experienced equine anaesthetists, Miguel Marcela and Nacho Garcia. And we are now going to already start collecting content from a number of clinics, equine clinics around the world, who are willing to take part and submit their data to enable us to see what the situation is now with horses undergoing general anaesthesia or sedation for a diagnostic or surgical procedure, to see if there are any significant differences in the techniques that were carried out, the outcomes, and to identify potential risk factors that we could investigate further. And I'm hoping, and I think we all are hoping, that this will lead to further projects using the data collection, which is now benefiting enormously from what's possible via the internet, with practices submitting their data in real time to the data collection process, and for us to be able to identify as we go along potential risk factors and adapt the study to identify and further investigate those particular challenges that might appear looking at a very different data set nearly 15 years later. And I really invite you to take part, please. It's pretty painless. You're only going to be recording information that you would otherwise record at your clinics anyway, and the contribution, if we collect it in a robust way that has been constructed, we should be able to get some very much more meaningful results out of a really difficult and challenging situation where horses are still unexpectedly dying, and the techniques in 15 years have changed, and we need to know whether those techniques have changed for the better or worse, and what other techniques might arise and be helpful in this situation. And so I invite you please to contact Miguel or Nacho to take part and feel comfortable. All your data will be confidential and will form the basis of a very large data set that we will be able to interrogate over a number of years and be able to find more answers to help us anaesthetize horses more safely. And I invite you please to take part. So many of you did. 147 clinics took part in the initial phases of this study, and we're really hoping that as many clinics as possible will be able to take part in this fourth phase and subsequent phases. And we really look forward to working with you. Please do contact us, and we will do our level best to find out results, feed them back to you so that we can all anaesthetize horses more safely in the future. Thank you.